Hello, guys, and welcome to the WWE Raw Wrestling Universe. I need to stop trying to say WWE Universe. I meant to say Wrestling Universe. As we take a look at the final pay-per-view for WWE, which is Tables, Ladders, and Chairs TLC 2018, the last pay-per-view of the year. Let's see what went down in this last pay-per-view of 2018. So we kick things off with a Cruiserweight Championship match where Buddy Murphy would challenge Cedric Alexandre, the guy he took the title from about a month or so ago. And, of course, Buddy Murphy manages to continue to defeat Cedric Alexandre and remain the current Cruiserweight champion in the Cruiserweight division. Then that would lead into our next match, which is the ladder match between Eliza, who is now a good guy, by the way. I know it sounds crazy, isn't it, for Eliza to be a good guy, to take on Bobby Lashley in a ladder match, and Eliza would manage to defeat Bobby Lashley and become the winner of the ladder match in TLC. So good job for Eliza, and I'm pretty sure he's going to have a pretty good WrestleMania, and he'll probably have his first WrestleMania victory, knowing my luck. And then, of course, we would have the battle between Carmella and R-Truth versus Jinder Mahal and Alicia Fox as they battle for the crowning, to win Season 2 of Mixed Match Challenge. And, of course, Carmella and R-Truth would end up coming out victorious, and they would end up winning the second season of WWE Mixed Match Challenge by winning money for their charity for winning this match. So good ups to Carmella and R-Truth for coming out victorious of the Mixed Match Challenge. And then, of course, we would have the SmackDown Tag Team Champions, the Bar, defending their titles in a triple threat match against the Usos and the New Day. But of course, as you would imagine, the Bar would manage to defeat the Usos and the New Day, remaining SmackDown's tag champions, and coming out victorious in the triple threat match. So good up to the Bars. And then, of course, we would have the match between the sort of temporary Raw GM, Baron Corbin versus Braun Strowman. And not only that, but there are two different stipulations in this match. One would be that if Braun Strowman defeats Baron Corbin, he would get himself a Universal Championship match against Brock Lesnar at next year's Royal Rumble event on the 27th of January when the Royal Rumble takes place. Or if Baron Corbin managed to defeat Braun Strowman, he would become the actual Raw general manager for Monday Night Raw, and he would basically own the job essentially. So, yeah, but however, though, if Baron Corbin did lose to Braun Strowman, he would no longer be Raw GM. He would be a WWE superstar again. So, in other words, Braun Strowman had to win this match in order to get himself a title match, but also to free many superstars out of Baron Corbin's leadership for Monday Night Raw. And the lucky thing here, Braun Strowman would end up defeating Baron Corbin in the TLC match, and he would get himself a Universal Championship match against Brock Lesnar at the Royal Rumble. And in the process, Braun Strowman would end up losing his title as Raw, sort of executive Raw GM, and now he would obviously just become a WWE superstar. But of course, obviously tonight on Monday Night Raw, Mr. McMahon has promised to shake things up to Monday Night Raw. God knows what that means, but you'll probably find out tonight what Mr. McMahon has in mind in terms of shaking things up this soon. Anyway, but regardless, though, Braun Strowman will meet Brock Lesnar for the Universal Championship at the Royal Rumble on the 27th of January. That is when the Royal Rumble will take place, and that will be Raw's main event for the Universal Championship before the Royal Rumble match. Then we have the Natalia's match against Ruby Riott in a tables match, and Natalya would get her revenge on Ruby Riott and win the women's tables match. then as well as, and then of course that would lead to Finn Balor versus Drew McIntyre, who obviously Drew McIntyre has proven his dominance. In fact, he turned his back on Dolph Ziggler shortly after this match. This would lead to, you could say, the face turn of Dolph Ziggler, who ends up getting stabbed in the back by Drew McIntyre, but Finn Balor would come out victorious against Drew McIntyre, winning the match at TLC. And then, of course, we would have the chairs match between Rey Mysterio and Randy Orton. And, of course, Rey Mysterio would defeat Randy Orton in the chairs match, coming out victorious, getting revenge on Randy Orton, who took his mask off over the last couple of weeks. And then eventually that would lead to the Raw Women's Championship match where Nia Jax would challenge Ronda Rousey, a rematch from Money in the Bank this year where both of these women once again battling for the Raw Women's Championship. But this time, Ronda Rousey finally defeats Nia Jax as the Raw Women's Champion, as she was successful to beat Nia Jax and come out victorious as the Raw Women's Champion. So big ups to Ronda Rousey. And then eventually that would lead to the WWE Championship match where the new Daniel Bryan takes on AJ Styles, the man he took the title from. And of course, the new Daniel Bryan with his old tricks, managing to defeat AJ Styles and remain WWE Champion heading into the Royal Rumble. So yes, Daniel Bryan obviously owning the WWE Championship as he heads into the Royal Rumble as WWE Champion. Then, of course, that would lead to the match between Dean Ambrose and taking on Seth Rollins for the Intercontinental Championship. Yes, this is the first time that two former Shield brothers would face each other, as Seth Rollins would challenge this heel Dean Ambrose, who stabbed him in the back about 2 months ago when Dean Ambrose stabbed Seth Rollins in the back after Roman Reigns had to relinquish the Universal Championship due to obviously him getting cancer, and obviously he's still recovering from that, by the way. But of course, Dean Ambrose would end up defeating Seth Rollins and become the new Intercontinental Champion. Can you believe it? Dean Ambrose finally winning back the Intercontinental Championship and beating his own former Shield brother, Seth Rollins, and taking the Intercontinental Championship with him, as yes, Dean Ambrose would obviously find the way to win the Intercontinental title. And then eventually that would lead to the Triple Threat Women's TLC match where Asuka would take on Becky Lynch and Charlotte Flair for the SmackDown Women's Championship. But it was during this match, of course, Becky Lynch was obviously very close to getting the title victory. But of course, not without a surprise visit by Ronda Rousey. Yes, Ronda Rousey gave a surprise visit to Becky Lynch and Charlotte, getting revenge on Charlotte Flair, you could say, and Becky Lynch, who have been making, obviously, Charlotte Flair for attacking Ronda Rousey at Survivor Series, and for Becky Lynch for basically making fun out of Ronda Rousey on SmackDown over the last couple of weeks. And this would lead to them losing the match and Asuka winning, and she would finally win the SmackDown Women's Championship, as she would take the crown of SmackDown's Women's title off Becky Lynch, and she would head into the Royal Rumble as the SmackDown Women's Champion, which is kind of insane that Asuka has finally done it. She's finally won the women's title, because it was earlier this year that Asuka won the Women's Royal Rumble, the first ever Women's Royal Rumble match, but at the same time, she was unsuccessful to defeating Charlotte for the SmackDown Women's Championship. But it was only until now we finally get to see her win the SmackDown Women's Championship, which is it's insane. It took her an entire year to get to this moment of winning the title, and you know, that's kind of what life is like in WWE. You know, you think you're going to win it at WrestleMania, but then it will take you several months to finally get to that championship win. So, yeah. Either way, it was something. So, yeah, Asuka finally winning the SmackDown Women's Championship to round off TLC 2018 as she heads into 2019 as the new SmackDown Women's Champion, which is good on her. She finally got it. But apart from that, really, that is pretty much it for the night, pretty much. As of course, that pretty much sets up the tone for the Royal Rumble, because we all know the next pay-per-view event that we've got coming up is, of course, the Royal Rumble 2019, where we'll see Brock Lesnar defend the Universal Championship against Braun Strowman, where who knows, maybe we'll see Braun Strowman finally win the Universal title before WrestleMania. I mean, is it possible for that to happen? You never know. It could happen at the Royal Rumble. We could see the Braun Strowman finally capture the Universal Championship, or maybe he'll get close to, and maybe it will lead to him finally getting a title match at WrestleMania, which would lead to the battle between them between him and Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania, and maybe the Royal Rumble winner as well. But regardless, though, the Royal Rumble, as I said, the Royal Rumble begins on the 27th of January. That is when we'll see this year's or next year's Royal Rumble match, where we will finally get to see that Universal Championship match. And, of course, the 2019 Royal Rumble, men's Royal Rumble match, which we don't, the only person we know who's definitely in that match is going to be R-Truth. And then the only woman who is participating so far for the women's Royal Rumble match will be Carmella. But I'm pretty sure there'll be plenty of others who will want to go after the Royal to get themselves a future women's title opportunity at WrestleMania, women's title match at WrestleMania, and a WWE or Universal Championship match at WrestleMania by winning the men's Royal Rumble match. But regardless, though, at least that's just some of the highlights we've got to look forward to in the Royal Rumble match. In the Royal Rumble from the 27th of January 2019. That is when we'll finally get to see who takes the crown of the 2019 men's and women's Royal Rumble match, and who will be heading to WrestleMania and getting themselves a title match in Phoenix. So we shall see. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in a upcoming Rest of the Universe, where we'll talk about some of the upcoming content. Or in fact, we'll probably skip that and we'll focus on the Christmas special at the end of the week, where we'll look at the Tribute to the Troops Christmas special, which will be our Christmas special results for 2018, as we'll look at the results of Tribute to the Troops 2018. So see you then.